Hello everyone, and welcome back to Love and Tears. Wherever you're watching from tonight, I want to thank you for joining us. This is a place where we share stories of love. Beautiful, painful, unforgettable. Stories that reflect the joy and the heartbreak we all experience at some point in our lives. And tonight, dear viewers, I want to tell you a story that begins in a ballroom with a single glass of bourbon and ends on a quiet street under cold, indifferent stars. The bourbon glass trembled faintly in my hand, its amber surface catching sparks of chandelier light, as her boss's words cut into me like a blade. So you're the man who keeps Emily tied down to that tiny little life of hers. His smirk was sharp, his voice dripping with cruelty disguised as humor. The sentence landed in my chest like a punch I hadn't braced for. Around me, the ballroom sparkled with laughter, glasses clinking, shallow conversations floating through gilded air. But suddenly, the room felt smaller, tighter, the oxygen thinning. Across the room, Emily stood radiant in a crimson dress, laughing easily with a colleague. She hadn't heard Richard's words. Or maybe she had. I forced my lips into a strained smile, though my jaw ached, chained. "That's a new one," I muttered. My heart thumped slow and heavy, clashing with the band's fast-paced jazz. Richard leaned closer, Cologne's sharp voice low and mocking. "Come on, man. Look at her. She shines out here. And you a teacher. She could have so much more." His words weren't just insults. They were provocation, deliberate wounds, delivered with the smugness of a man who believed he already knew the ending. I turned back to Emily. Our eyes met for a second. Her lips curved into a smile, one that faltered before it reached her eyes. That hesitation told me what I had feared for months. Something was wrong. The hotel dripped with wealth. Marble floors gleamed, gilded trim. Glittered servers moved like shadows with trays of canapes. Everyone seemed comfortable here, except me. Emily had pleaded with me over breakfast. "It's important, David, please." Her voice had been soft, but insistent. I told myself she just wanted me to see her world, to connect the dots between her high-powered career and our quiet suburban life. But now, with Richard's voice echoing in my ears, that faith began to crack. Had she ever said I was holding her back? I swallowed another burning sip of bourbon, but my thoughts unraveled. Late nights at the office, her phone turned face down. The way her touch in bed had become little more than a sigh. "I'm just tired." I had convinced myself it was stress. But Richard's smirk burrowed deeper, carving out my doubts. I walked across the ballroom floor toward her, each step deliberate. "Having fun?" I asked, slipping my arm around her waist. She stiffened briefly, then leaned against me. Her perfume, once familiar, now felt suffocating. "It's just work. Networking," she said lightly, her eyes darting away. The colleague she'd been laughing with nodded politely before walking off. His hand brushed her arm as he passed, and something twisted inside me. "Richard seems friendly," I said, aiming for casual, though my pulse thundered. Her laugh came sharp-forced. "Oh, him. All bark, no bite." She sipped her wine, leaving a scarlet mark on the glass. I wanted to believe her, God, I did. But the air between us grew heavy, like the charged silence before lightning splits the sky. He said I was holding you back, I murmured. Her eyes flickered. For a fleeting moment, guilt, or was it fear, flashed before she covered it with a strange smile. He's an idiot, David. You know that, but I didn't know. Not anymore. The rest of the night blurred. Empty small talk. Polished smiles that felt like daggers. Emily drifted through the crowd like fire, her laughter brighter with them than it had been at home in months. Watching her was like hearing a song you once loved but no longer recognized. When we returned home, silence filled the rooms. Emily slipped out of her heels. I'm exhausted, she whispered, vanishing into the bedroom. I stayed in the kitchen, staring at her phone on the counter. I had never touched it before. Never needed to. But Richard's words wouldn't leave me. Her passcode was our anniversary date. Once sweet, now bitter. The truth lit up the screen in a thread with Richard. Not many messages, but enough. You deserve better, he had written. I know, it's just complicated, she had replied. A photo. The two of them at a bar. Her hand resting casually on his arm. Nothing explicit, but enough. Too much. She hadn't just drifted. She had chosen. When Emily walked back into the kitchen and saw me holding her phone, her face drained. David, what are you doing? You tell me. I said, voice cracking beneath the weight of fury and grief. What is this, Emily? What are we? Her lips trembled. Tears welled. It's not what you think. I was unhappy. I didn't know how to say it. Unhappy. A bitter laugh ripped out of me. 10 years together and you couldn't tell me. She didn't deny it. Didn't fight. Just cried softly, guilt hanging heavy in the air. I asked, broken. Her answer pierced deeper than any message. Because you're safe, David. And I wanted more. Those words ended everything. I left. The night air cut into my skin as her sobs faded behind me. Richard's smirk haunted me. But the person I hated most wasn't him. It was her. It was me for never seeing it sooner. The stars above were cold and indifferent. And as I walked on, I realized the truth. The man who had loved her no longer existed. But dear viewers, life never ends in a single night. Days turned into weeks. Cheap motels became my home. Work became an empty ritual. And Emily, she never called. It was Richard who did. His voice slick, arrogant. You left her. That makes things easier. Easier. As if love were a competition. As if Emily were a trophy to be claimed. I hung up. But his confidence left a cruel question in my mind. Had she already chosen him long before I left? Months passed. One afternoon I saw them, Emily and Richard at a cafe. His hand covering hers, but a smile empty. Tired. For the first time, I wondered, had she left me for him or had she been gone long before he arrived? What do you think, dear viewers? Do people leave because they found someone else? Or do they find someone else because they were already halfway gone? Then came the letter. Her handwriting, shaky. David, I don't expect forgiveness. Richard isn't what I thought he was. He wanted the chase, not the forever. I've lost you and I deserve it. But please remember me for the good years, not just the end. I read it 3 times. My hands trembled. Part of me felt vindicated. Another part shattered again, because she was right. There had been good years, but could good years survive betrayal? The final time I saw her was at the bookstore we used to love. She was alone. No Richard, no red dress. Just Emily in a simple sweater, hair pulled back, eyes tired. She whispered, "David." I nodded, unable to speak. She stepped closer, tears brimming. "I'm sorry." And in that moment, I realized forgiveness isn't a door you can open with a key. It's a slow, painful process. One I wasn't ready for. Maybe one I'd never be ready for. I know, I said quietly. Then I walked away. Dear viewers of Love and Tears, sometimes the cruelest truth is this: not every story finds closure. Not every wound heals. Some love songs will forever remain unfinished. But in losing her, I found something unexpected. I found myself, and maybe, just maybe, that was the love story I needed all along.